advertisers.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. It is Pushing the Limits. I appreciate you all being here. We have a lot to discuss and a lot to talk about. It seems like I say that every day. I do, because every 24 hours in the news cycle, it's crazy. Welcome, everybody. The YouTube Super Chat going strong. My website, pushingthelimits.live. The Really American Network broadcasting our show live. We appreciate you guys as well. And we got a lot to get to and a lot to talk about, as I mentioned. Very funny comedian. One of my favorite comedians on the planet. You could call him a left-leaning comedian. He was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. The guy's got 1 billion views on Facebook. One of the most popular comics around. The very funny and talented Steve Hofstetter is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We love Steve, so he'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour. I want to get right into this. Because Caroline, the lying bitch Levette, as I will always call her that, who once did this show, by the way, made a fool of herself once again, as she always does, in her press conference. So there was a press conference earlier today where Caroline, the lying bitch Levette, called on a guy by the name of Jack Posobiec, a guy that I have debated on the Piers Morgan show a number of times. But you see, what the White House is doing is they're putting, the Tim Pools of the world and others in that new media seat, giving them a media credential and calling on them to ask the first questions. Let me remind all of you that Jack Posobiec is the guy who started the Pizzagate scandal. He's one of the idiots that had an Epstein binder in D.C. and was embarrassed. And these are the people that they credential. Have a listen to this yourself. That's right. Caroline Levette, the lying bitch Levette, introducing the Pizzagate creator. That was a complete BS lie. Jack Posobiec asking the first question at the press conference today.
With that, I will take your questions today. Here in our new media seat today, we have Jack Posobiec, who joined us in Anchorage, Alaska last week. Jack, thanks for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Caroline, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm not even going to replay the question that he asked or even play it for that matter. And by the way, I'll change the wording of what I just said. The Pizzagate conspiracy theory was not a scandal. It was a lie. It was made up that Hillary Clinton was running some sort of pedophile ring in the basement of this pizza restaurant. It was a lie. It put people in harm's way. And this is the type of person that they invite into the White House and give that person a press credential. It is a joke. These clowns in the Trump administration put these people in there with no credibility. But should we be surprised? Because the people that work in Donald Trump's administration have zero credibility to begin with. Now, the White House has been saying they want to get everybody on the same page when it comes to Zelensky and Putin and all these, NATO leaders in their countries. And a member of the New York Times asks what I would consider a very clear question. Have a listen to this exchange.
Hey, if the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. And if I could just read for all of you.
No, idiot. The reason why they all got on a plane is because they don't trust Donald Trump and they feel like they're going to push Zelensky into doing something that he shouldn't be doing. That's why they all got on a plane, you lying bitch, you. That's why they got on a plane. And you didn't answer the question, Miss Levette. You didn't answer the question. Or Mrs. Is it Mrs. Levette because her husband's like 85 years old? You didn't answer the question. If you want everybody to be on the same page, why is Donald Trump talking with Vladimir Putin in another room when you have all these world leaders sitting there? If you want to be on the same page, put him on speaker. I'm pretty sure they have the technology to do that so everybody can hear the conversation. The reason why Trump doesn't want to do that is because he wants it in private because he has something to hide. And the idea that all these world leaders in NATO jumped on a plane because they support Donald Trump and think he's doing such a wonderful job is a joke. Maybe a few of them do, but most of them were there to back Zelensky. not to back Donald Trump, who they know is working alongside Vladimir Putin because they're pals, allegedly. You know, and then they're talking about, and Caroline Leavitt is asked about the public pressure to bring the war to a close. And listen to the credit she wants to give Donald Trump for sanctions to Russia and punishing Vladimir Putin. To this date, listen to what Caroline Leavitt says in defending Donald Trump on how tough he is on Vladimir Putin.
Look, the president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end, and he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Ooh, wow. So sanctions on India. Wow, that's really going to get Vladdy to stop all the airstrikes when all these innocent women and children are being murdered. By the way, he did that the night before their meeting on Friday. But we're supposed to accept the fact that, Putin wants to get this done for Donald Trump. What a frickin' joke. And the question is asked, what's Putin's motivation? To try to do something for President Trump. Have a listen to this.
Specifically for President Trump, though, what do you think Putin's motivation is to try to do something for President Trump, as opposed to just resolving the conflict?
I think, as I just spoke to in my opening remarks, Kelly, Russia and all countries around this world actually respect the United States again, and the president is using the might of American strength to demand that respect from our allies, our friends, our adversaries all around the world. And we've seen that not just lead to progress with Russia and Ukraine, but also we've seen it in the closing of 7 global conflicts around the world as well.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So the world respects the United States again. Do you know how many people in all these countries all over the world are laughing at us and embarrassed for us? But she wants to make the case ever since Donald Trump took office that America is respected again. I mean, this has to be a joke. But, this is who Caroline the Liar Leavitt is. She stands up there on a podium. She lies. She continuously spreads propaganda, attacks the media when she doesn't like what to be a credible question, or I would consider what is a credible question. And now we're learning from the White House that Vladimir Putin promised a meeting with Zelensky, as if any of Vladimir Putin's promises have any credibility to it at all. This is a murderer. This is a guy who has killed hundreds of thousands of people. But somehow Donald Trump gives credibility to Putin when he talks about how he thinks the 2020 election was rigged, obviously coddling to Donald Trump, or when he claims that he promises to meet with Zelensky. Yeah, let's trust Vladimir Putin. Let's call all the Democrats liars in this country, but let's trust an evil, murderous dictator who invaded our allies. That's what the White House is doing, and that's what Caroline Leavitt's doing. So Donald Trump was on Fox and Friends this morning, and we all remember how they rolled out the red carpet for this evil dictator and Vladimir Putin. They literally rolled out the red carpet for him, and the touchy and feely Donald Trump with Vladimir Putin was more than most people get on a first date. And listen to Donald Trump gloat about their relationship. It absolutely sickens me to the core.
Maintained a very good relationship. I mean, you saw that when he got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth there that you can't, there's a decent feeling. And it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Well, if it's a warmth and a decent feeling, I would say that Donald Trump's relationship with Donald Trump is far better than Melania, that's for sure. But think about that for a minute. A man that invaded our country, that handcuffs should be put on him. Trump rolls out the red carpet for him, brags about it, coddles him, while airstrikes and more innocent people in Ukraine were killed just hours earlier. And he's bragging about the relationship that they have. Every single time Donald Trump says that Putin wants peace, there's another airstrike. But this guy's talking about the warmth that they have and the decent feeling that they have when they meet one another, according to Trump. Doesn't this bother you? And here's the point where Donald Trump blames Barack Obama for giving Crimea to Russia, which is, by the way, a complete lie. But have a listen to this.
Real estate developers, I look at it, I said, why the heck did he do that to them? And so there's great hostility, and maybe rightfully so. But one thing was NATO. They went in. They said, we want you. We want to get Crimea back. This was at the beginning. Now Putin, in all fairness to him, he made a good deal. He got it from Obama. But they said, we want it back, and that was not exactly well received because it was like 12 years before. That's where Russia has its submarine base, and, that's been there long before Putin. They've been there for a long time, but long before Putin. And the other thing they said is, we want to be a member of NATO. Well, both of those things are impossible because, again, long before Putin, it was a no-no by Russia or the Soviet Union or anything you want to call it. Sort of a similar thing as it gets larger, but very similar. But it was always a no-no. You could not. Russia said, we don't want the so-called opponent or the enemy, let's use that term, we don't want them on our border. And they were right. They were okay. And yet they went in and they asked, with the United States, they said, put us into NATO. And everybody knew you just can't do that. They would never have agreed to it. This is before Putin. This is long before Putin. It was just a no-no. It was something that was never going to happen. So they asked for it, and they shouldn't have asked for it because it was, very insulting thing. Now, they could have asked for many other things. But the other thing they wanted to do is getting Crimea back, and, that was given. They had built, they were expanding everything and spending a lot of money, all because Barack Hussein Obama gave it away in one of the dumbest real estate deals I've ever seen.
Okay, so let me just be clear on this. That is a blatant lie. Barack Obama did not give Crimea to Russia. Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about, or he's just blatantly lying, not telling the truth. And this is the point that really gets my blood to boil. And Donald Trump does this all the time. He blames Ukraine for the war. Let me be clear. Vladimir Putin is the one who decided to invade our allies. It wasn't any part of Zelensky or Ukraine or anybody in Ukraine. This is all on the Kremlin, and this is all on Vladimir Putin. But here's Donald Trump with his Russian propaganda once again, claiming that Ukraine started the war.
Mr. President, did y'all discuss any land swaps yesterday? Because we've talked a lot about the Donbass region. And what was the feeling in the room? What did the other leaders say about this?
Well, they understand. Look, everybody can play cute and this and that, but, Ukraine's going to get their life back. They're going to stop having people killed all over the place, and they're going to get a lot of land. But this was a war, and Russia is a powerful military nation, whether people like it or not. It's a powerful nation. It's a much bigger nation. It's not a war that should have been started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size and military experts look, if it wasn't for the greatest military equipment, we make the greatest military equipment in the world, and we gave them, whatever. They took probably a lot of money, too, but they had tremendous, they had the Patriot missile, which is the best in the world. All the equipment, we make the best equipment in the world by far. Everyone else is like nothing. So we gave them a lot of equipment. Now, with that said, the Ukrainian soldiers were brave as hell because they're fighting a force that's much, much bigger and, in theory, much more powerful. And, it's not like they've stopped. I assume you've all seen the map. A big chunk of territory is taken, and that territory has been taken. Now, they're talking about Donbass, but Donbass right now, as you know, is 79% owned and controlled by Russia. So they understand what that means.
Mr. President, what is...
If you notice, no accountability or responsibility on Vladimir Putin. He always does this. He blames Ukraine for getting invaded. He always does this in interviews. He does it constantly. It's like blaming the Jews for the Holocaust. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. It's that black and white. And then Donald Trump is asked about, the deployment of all these troops in D.C., and he again lies on Fox News this morning, talking about restaurants and how busy they are. Let me be very clear with you. And The mayor talked about this in D.C. There are plenty of restaurant owners who have been doing interviews and business owners who have clearly said that business has gone down since Donald Trump has decided to deploy the National Guard. But here's Donald Trump lying once again on Fox News, not being, questioned on his lies, because that's not what these idiots do, and saying that business is way up in these restaurants when it couldn't be further from the truth.
But Mr.
But
President,
now I'm doing something that I'm having such fun with because I'm helping people. I've made Washington D.C. Just an incredible place. In literally 4 days, I have friends that say they're going out to dinner. Did you see what's happening with the restaurants? They're bursting.
Yes,
they were all closing and going bankrupt. I mean, it would be. It would be great. There's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very well to dinner in Washington, and they don't have to. And she's sitting right next to you, by the way.
That's right.
But
Mr. President,
I don't want to get him in trouble, so I better explain exactly. We don't want any secrets here. But
That's exactly right.
that's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking any news. This could be the biggest. Hey, this could be the most important thing I said. But let me tell you, those are two great, Ainsley and Sean, great people. And when they go out to dinner, I don't want to see them get mugged. Now they can go out. They can hold hands. They can walk down the street. They're both superstars. I want to know who makes more money because she's got to be making a lot.
Mr. President, we're so happy for
you can see how uncomfortable they are about that conversation. And at the end of that, and by the way, that was a lie at the beginning of the clip. Restaurants are not through the roof with business. In fact, it's the opposite in D.C. ever since he deployed the National Guard. So he has no idea what he's talking about. He's just blatantly lying. But the idiots that are watching Fox and Friends will believe everything they hear. And then he starts talking about, dad bod who divorced his wife to date somebody half his age. Very wholesome and Christian of Sean Hannity, by the way. Don't you notice all these people that call themselves Christians, like the Pete Hegseths of the world? They're usually the people that do the opposite of what a good, decent man should or could do. Yeah, that's right. Sean Hannity is dating that dumb blonde bimbo on Fox and Friends because that's what she is, and he is just an awful human being, so I guess they deserve each other. Really good, wholesome Christian Sean Hannity. Divorce your wife, then date somebody half your age. Very Christian. That's what we call a nuclear family, Christian values. What a joke. So did you see who Donald Trump recently appointed as the co-deputy director of the FBI with Dan Bongino? So it's this guy named Bailey, right? And I want you to listen to what this guy said on Newsmax because this should be pretty troubling. Number one, he's going to be the co-deputy director of the FBI. And number two, he makes this crazy and bizarre claim that Biden should be tried in a court of law for his student loan forgiveness policy. And somehow the guy who is now the co-deputy director of the FBI is claiming that Biden should be convicted of crimes because he doesn't like the student forgiveness program. It's insane. Have a listen to this.
Why are we seeing these decisions right now?
Well, he's clearly trying to interfere in the election by using his official office to try to buy votes with the student loan debt cancellation plan. And again, I don't concede that there's any such thing as cancel. That debt is going to be passed on to working Missouri families, and that's why this lawsuit's so important. But I think he's also realized that he's used lawfare against President Trump, and that's going to boomerang at some point. What role is he playing in election interference if he's trying to buy votes? And is there a red state prosecutor out there that could potentially charge him with a criminal offense?
Why are we seeing...
Here, let me just make this clear. This is the co-deputy director now of the FBI. And he is trying to make the case that Joe Biden committed a crime because of Joe Biden's policy of student loan debt forgiveness. If this isn't crazy to all of you, I don't know what to say. This is the guy that's now in Donald Trump's administration who thinks we should prosecute Joe Biden for student loan debt forgiveness. Notice how he doesn't really have a problem, I guess, with all those COVID PPE loans that all these Republicans took out for their businesses that they never had to pay back. MAGA Republicans don't have a problem with that. That's totally fine. But student loan debt forgiveness, God forbid, we give some college students who are struggling in this economy some debt forgiveness, or people in their mid-20s or late 20s or whatever that are struggling to get a job in this economy. And Joe Biden says, you know what? I'm going to help you with your student loan debt. We're going to do our best to try to help you. And this clown on the far right, who's a complete imbecile, by the way, from Missouri, is saying that's a crime. We should try Joe Biden for student loan debt forgiveness. Well, if that's the case, we should try and put every Republican on trial that voted for the big and beautiful bill. If you want to play that stupid game, let's put every single Republican on trial who clearly doesn't care about their constituents and that over 15 million people are going to lose their health care coverage and billions of dollars are going to be lost from food assistance so that we can give some of the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% in this country. If this scumbag wants to even attempt to try to convict Joe Biden. By the way, I don't even know what crime he's thinking of. He's saying that Joe Biden did student loan debt forgiveness so that he could buy votes, which is quite bizarre. I'm sure Donald Trump didn't say he was going to pardon all the January 6th insurrectionists so he could get votes, or when he said no tax on tips, or when he said he could end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, or I'm going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. We're going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. Should we prosecute Donald Trump for all those lies? Joe Biden implementing policy to help students who graduated from college with their debt, and this scumbag wants to say he committed a crime for doing that. He was trying to buy votes. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, and this clown is going to be the co-deputy director of the FBI. You want to talk about politicization of the FBI? You want to talk about corruption? You have it with this guy right here. It's insanity. But these are the people who are working now in Donald Trump's administration. People who make decisions like putting Bumblejack Posobiec in that media seat today, the guy who started the Pizzagate lie and conspiracy theory. He gets credibility. He gets a media credential. He asks the first question in the press conference. And then Caroline Levitt is asked, if all of you guys, want to be on the same page with this Russia-Ukraine war, why did Donald Trump go in private to talk to Putin when all these leaders in NATO were in that room? Why didn't he do it in front of them? And she doesn't answer the question. The reason why she won't answer the question is because Donald Trump always has something to hide. And I believe Vladimir Putin has something to hide as well. So I don't know whether Vladimir Putin and Zelensky are going to get in a room together. I don't know. Certainly I would welcome something like that. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know. But here's what I do know. Donald Trump has always been on Putin's side. Donald Trump will continue to be on Putin's side. And the only way right now that this war is going to stop is if Zelensky gives up much of the land that they have in Ukraine that does not belong to Russia. No concessions and no punishment for Putin. That's the only way this war is going to end. And I don't think Zelensky is going to do it. And I don't think many members of NATO are going to go for this either. And I think it's going to be a disaster. We will wait and see how it goes. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, of course, we'll be taking your phone calls too after this interview. One of my favorite comedians in the world. Very talented guy. He's got over 1 billion views on Facebook, almost 1 million followers on Facebook, 200 million views on YouTube. The very funny and talented Steve Hofstetter is going to be joining us next. He destroys MAGA hecklers at his comedy shows all over the country, and Steve's a really smart guy. The one and only Steve Hofstetter is going to be joining us next. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this on Pushing the Limits on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Quick programming note for you. The guy who took bookie bets from Otani's interpreter, who's facing up to 20 years in jail. Yeah, he's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. That's an interesting story. So certainly looking forward to that. Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch, who just came back from vacation. He's going to be joining us on the show Thursday. And my good friend Richard Patrick, formerly of 9 Inch Nails, the lead singer of Filter, will be joining us on Friday. So I always love having, D.L. Hughley's, by the way, is going to join us on the show next week. He's been posting a lot of my videos. So he's going to be joining us on the show next week. So that's going to be a lot of fun, too. So the guy joining us on the show right now, he's been one of my favorite comedians for a very, very, very long time. He was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his charity work. He's got like a gazillion views, like over 200 million views on YouTube, like 1 billion views on Facebook. That's a pretty incredible number. The very funny and talented Steve Hofstetter joining us right now on the show. Steve, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good to see you too. How you doing?
Doing okay, Steve. I'm good to see you. Man, you've been touring for a while now, huh? Like, do you ever take breaks?
I do take breaks. I'm taking a huge break this winter because my wife's pregnant. And
congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm basically off the road from, Thanksgiving through March because I don't want to be the kind of man that TV portrays us as.
No, I understand that. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. So you travel all over the country. Mm-hmm. You occasionally get MAGA supporters that will scream out stupid stuff. Like I recently saw a video where you got into not even a debate. It's just some moron that was talking to you about gender bathrooms and stuff. And then outside he refuses to leave. And then I guess he got arrested, right?
Yeah, he got arrested. It wasn't a debate as much as a coke-fueled tirade. And this guy, so this was in Canada where, it was in Vancouver. And I don't know if it's like all police or just these police were really trying to de-escalate and gave him every opportunity to leave. And then finally he wouldn't, and they searched him and found what I can only assume was a metric ton of cocaine, just because, metric. And a lot of people in the comments were saying things like, just because he's white, they gave him all these opportunities. And I was like, well, what if police did that with everyone, though? Wouldn't that be better? If police, it's the problem wasn't that they gave him every opportunity to leave. The problem is that doesn't often happen.
Correct. And if he was perhaps a different skin color, it wouldn't have gone down the same way. I completely understand. And I agree with you there, Steve.
Yeah.
What do you make of what's going on? I mean, there's so much to talk about.
Is something going on?
Yeah, there's a few things going on now. Where do I even start? What do you make of, Trump campaigning for months that he would end the war within 24 hours? All I have to do is pick up the phone. And now we're in month 7 and they're saying, let's give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Like what do you make of the situation we're in right now with there?
I loved that he, took credit for the ceasefire between Iran and Israel that both sides violated immediately. I love that he took credit for Pakistan and India, which didn't happen. I love that he is taking credit for Ukraine and Russia while there's absolutely no peace. And if he wants to win the Nobel Peace of Garbage Prize, sure. But the idea that he has brokered any peace whatsoever is ridiculous. And I enjoy that I have also been nominated and not won. So we are on the same footing there because I too have not stopped a single war.
That's true. You did some great charity work and you deserve to be nominated. I don't know what country we're living in anymore. I mean, what do you make of the National Guard being deployed to D.C.? You know what took place in L.A. like a month ago. What do you make of the fact that, for the most part, crime in D.C. has been on its way down? I think violent crime is the lowest it's been since the 1960s in D.C. And Caroline Leavitt is bragging about that. Kash Patel bragging about it. Yet Trump is saying, you walk down the street, everybody's going to get mugged. So now they deployed the National Guard. What do you make of this?
I think my favorite moment was Mark Wayne Mullen. Mullen? What's his last name? I don't know.
Mullen, no, with the seatbelt. I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Where he was tweeting that he was scared to drive through DC. But he's the same guy that also tweeted that I'll be the first on the front line. I will lead the charge. I will no, you won't, you tiny little idiot. You will not. You are a scared little man We saw it in the pictures of January 6th when he was hiding behind a chair. He is, just this cosplay Rambo. Just shut up already.
Kind of like the female version of Kristi Noem. Would you agree? Would you agree with that? I mean,
Well, Kristi Noem at least has shot something. Unfortunately, it was a puppy, but
right.
at least she's actually used a firearm. I find it to be, it is okay to be uncomfortable sometimes. And the fact that you have to be uncomfortable does not mean we need to release the National Guard.
Yeah.
Like, I walk by be an adult walking by a group of teenagers getting out of school, teasing you, and you will be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, be somewhere where you don't immediately fit in and you will be uncomfortable. And that's okay. It doesn't mean it's crime. It just means you're uncomfortable.
Completely agree. I mean, you're one of the best at pointing out hypocrisy from the right, especially when you have some moron heckler at one of your shows. I mean, what do you make of the hypocrisy when it comes to the Epstein files? As you know, Steve, for years, we've heard from MAGA Republicans, release the Epstein files. The Clintons are in there. Release the Epstein files. And now all of a sudden, the story comes out from the New York Times. Not surprising that Trump's in the Epstein files, which clearly he is.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they just want this story to go away. I mean, there's a fraction of the MAGA base that are upset, but most of these people are like, okay, nothing to see here. Protect the victims. Let's move on.
The day that Pam Bondi said, I have the files on my desk, I'm releasing them tomorrow, I had this moment of like, oh no, what powerful Democrat is in there? Like, what is she doing that? And then when she didn't release the files the next day, I was like, oh, it's real bad for her side, because otherwise she would have. And the idea of like, you must release the files. Only Democrats are in the files. Now there are no files. Now there are files, but if a name is in it that is on our side, that was planted. And just at a certain point, like, anyone rational has to be able to look at this and go, oh yeah, he's guilty.
Yeah. I agree. It's crazy. If you're just joining us, stand-up comic, very funny guy, Steve Hofstetter, joining us on the show. Steve, what would you do if like a Pam Bondi or somebody higher up in Donald Trump's administration sat at one of your shows front row? Would you address that person?
100%. 100%.
Like if Pam Bondi walks into one of a Steve Hofstetter show and it's packed, and she sits front row, I'm just curious, because you're so quick on your feet. Like, what would you say to her?
I think I would explain to her what freedom of speech actually is and say that, like, my freedom of speech right now allows me to do this show without people like you stopping me. My freedom of speech also allows me to say whatever I want to you. Now, it doesn't allow you to not react. It just allows you to not arrest me. So with that said, and then a bunch of things that we should not air on radio. I would button handy. How just the rest of the show sounds like a test of the broadcasting system from the 80s.
Right. Like, have you ever had somebody like a Dean Cain or James Woods or somebody fairly famous? I would say Dean Cain was famous at one point, like on the far right, that has been to one of your shows that you recognized?
No, there was someone in my most popular heckler video. The person who was yelling at me about it, it's a video. It was at the end of one of my specials where someone started yelling at me about a joke I did. I had done a joke about how, like, you shouldn't have 10 kids if you can't afford to have those kids. And she starts coming at me about that and about, like, do I believe in diversity? And it was so weird because I was like, well, my show is exclusively performed by white men. I don't know what you mean by that. And then she started saying this thing about like diverse families and allowing for different opinions on that. And I'm like, look, the joke wasn't a swipe at big families. It was about already having 9 kids, being too poor to feed them, and then going, we're going to create another starving child, and how that's not fair to the kid. And I don't know if this is true, but there is a far-right agitator from Ireland. She had a thick Irish accent. There's a far-right agitator from Ireland who she really looked like. And I didn't know about this person, but a lot of people in the comments, and a lot of people have asked her, and she has never responded if it was her.
It was probably her then.
So I'm guessing it was her.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, Steve, with many of the hecklers, and I love the videos because you just destroy these people. But when it comes down to it, is it just, I know some of these people are intoxicated, right? But when it comes down to it, is it just, they're just very ill-informed and ignorant people. And isn't that a big part of Donald Trump's base? I mean, I'm not saying everybody that supports Trump is an idiot or stupid, but the people that, particularly the hecklers in your shows, they just sound like they're just very stupid people, for lack of a better term.
Well, people often ask, like, oh, has anyone ever gotten the better of you on that? And anyone smart enough to heckle well is smart enough not to heckle. Like, they understand that this is not my time. There have been people in the Q&A who have been absolutely hilarious. Like, I do Q&As at the end of my shows.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
And there's this one. So I was performing in Belfast, and I told a story, 100% true story, about the flyer for the show. When I do a flyer for a show in another country, typically I have the flag of that country on the flyer. It gets people's attention. But the problem with Northern Ireland is, to some people, the flag is the flag, and some people it very much is not. And so my graphic designer put a flag of Ulster on the flyer, and a lot of people got very upset, and other people got upset with them. So then I was like, all right, you know what? It's the UK. Let's just put the Union Jack on. And that made it even worse. And so that was the story. So during the Q&A, this guy raises his hand and he goes, is it made even worse that your middle name is IRA? And I was like, God damn it. That's a good line. That is, how did I not see that? Like, it's my own damn name. So, like, sometimes they're hilarious, but right. He also didn't yell that out during the story because he understood it's not his place to.
Right. Exactly. I completely agree with you. And you're right. It seems like, because you know a thing or two about this, it seems like a lot of people, they just want to be noticed. And it's like, nobody's paying to hear them, right? They're paying to hear you, for you to entertain them. And these selfish people, and I see this everywhere. Obviously, it's not just your show. It's almost everywhere. Every comedy show, there's always one or two people. They want to be the life of the party, and they want to be the entertainers. I mean, what would be your message to them?
Well, the top three human instincts are survival of the self, survival of the species, and mattering. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people want to matter by being very good at their profession, or by starting an awesome family, or by being a part of their community. There are so many different ways to matter. Some people try to matter by joining HOA and telling people how high their grass is allowed to be. There are various different ways to feel like you matter. And the people who try to matter by pulling someone else's matter down don't matter at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you were, I'm not saying this would ever happen, I wish it would, but if, let's just say hypothetically, you were chosen to roast Donald Trump. I don't mean to put you on the spot here, Steve, but I know you're a pretty funny guy. Like, what are some of the things you would say to Donald Trump if you were hired to roast him? Not just like to meet him and say hello, but to actually roast a guy like a Donald Trump on a TV special or something. Like, what are some of the points where you would go at when it comes to Trump?
I could tell him that I saw the footage of the parade in DC. The line at Starbucks was longer, but the coffee wasn't as bitter. But it's hard to hold the cup with the teeny hands.
He does have small hands. That's true.
Yeah.
Like, what do you make of a guy that wakes up in the morning and puts on 8 layers of orange makeup and, all the get up and the 4 hair transplants? Like, can you think of somebody that maybe is more insecure than Donald Trump about his appearance?
Well, I would also probably tell him, I'd be like, hey, it's great to be here as a fellow 6'4", 220 person. We clearly have very similar builds. Like, I can't believe anyone wrote that down without laughing.
Didn't they do Steve like 1 pound short of like obesity? Like, didn't they put him like 1 pound under the threshold for that's what I believe that's what I saw, right?
Well, I don't know who did that. I know his doctor, his crackpot doctor, listed him at 6'3", 215.
Right.
I am 6'4". I was at the doctor this morning, 6'4", 218. Okay. And like, I am a very different build than Donald Trump.
He can't even swing a golf club, but he keeps winning all these golf club championships, though. You know, I mean, he always likes to brag about that. And you see these videos, Steve, of all these these caddies that are cheating for him and dropping golf balls, and it's like, it's so comical. It's like, when does this end?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, see, I'm sitting in front of this case of baseballs. All right, up here, those are all of the ceremonial first pitches I've thrown.
Wow, that's super cool.
It's one of my favorite things to do. And here's the thing. For a 45-year-old comedian who has never played any moderate level of organized ball, I'm very good. For anyone with any actual background, I suck. And here's the thing. I'm proud of what I am able to do.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I'm ever going to be like, I struck out Ohtani. I did it. Because
right.
Like, no matter how insecure you are, like, then you're opening up the door to people calling you out on that. Like, just be secure. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Okay.
Sure.
I believe I am one of the best in the world at dealing with hecklers. And that is something I will stand by on.
Agree.
I believe
100%.
I have a decent throw from the mound. I could throw about 60 on a good day.
Wow.
I got invited to take batting practice with a minor league team.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no. Because as much as it would be cool if I did well, I got to go to the cage for 2 weeks before I could even make contact with professional batting practice. And that's if I put and it just tips the edge of the bat. Right. Because I know that there's something I'm very good at. There's something I'm competent at. And that is something I'm not. And that's okay. Donald Trump, if he got asked to throw out a ceremonial first pitch, it would be embarrassing. If he got asked to ceremonially lie, yeah, he'd be great at that.
Ceremonial lie. I like that, actually.
Yeah, you just got to play to your strengths.
Yeah, he is very good at lying. You're right about that. Steve, I'm wondering, because as a professional comedian, I'm laughing very hard at these Gavin Newsom tweets. And I don't know if it's him that's doing it or maybe a member of his staff, and I don't care. But I just think these tweets are so funny because they put them in these capital letters and they're using the similar language that Donald Trump uses. And then these stupid MAGA Republicans are like, oh, well, this is really immature. He's the governor. Well, do you realize why he's doing it? He's making fun of the guy that you support doing exactly what he does, right? I think it's great. What do you make of these tweets that Gavin Newsom's doing?
I like what he's doing. And look, I'm not a Newsom fan. Mm-hmm. I am, because we're not in a cult. I am someone who appreciates when he does a good thing, which good for him for standing up to Trump. And more people need to do that. We need to, what I really like about the tweets is we need to show how ridiculous he is. We do not need to meet him with a serious response. We need to, and it's part of, he hates being embarrassed, and let's use that against him. Like, the politicians that address him like he's a regular politician are, I don't know if they're crazy or they're cowardly or what, but you need to address him at the level he is, which is a petulant child. Good for Gavin Newsom for doing that. Good for Jasmine Crockett for doing that. Mm-hmm. More people need to do that.
I guess my last question for you, if the elections were held tomorrow, which clearly they're not, we have a lot of time between now and the presidential elections. I'm just curious, like, who are some of the people on the left that you would support for president? Would Gavin Newsom be one of them?
I would support whoever wins that primary. I would crawl over glass to vote for whoever wins that primary. Mm-hmm. I would say Newsom is probably in my top 15 right now.
Oh, wow.
But I would put Gretchen Whitmer ahead of him. I would put Andy Bashir ahead of him. I would put I would put Pete Buttigieg. I think that unfortunately the country is still too racist and sexist for AOC to win, but I would love to see her as a VP to be a stepping stone for that. I think that there are a lot of wonderful candidates. Wes Moore is a better choice than he is. I think Shapiro is a better choice than he is.
Agree.
There are a lot of people on the left who are better choice is, but he's getting the headlines right now. And that said, he is still, it's not even the same category of a choice when it would come to him or Trump or anyone in that MAGA.
Of course, I agree with you there. You mentioned Pete Buttigieg, who I admire a lot. I think he would be a great president. But what you said about women and AOC, and obviously we both don't have a problem if a woman becomes president, right? Obviously, we both
would love that.
Right, but is America ready for that? We are. You and I are, Steve. But is America ready to vote for a gay president or a woman?
I think most of America is. But if you see the numbers from the election, all right, Harris lost by a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
You think that 1% of America isn't sexist or racist enough to make the decision solely based on the fact that she is a woman of color?
Sure.
And that sucks. It's the reality we're in, but it sucks. And I do want to keep running candidates who should win, but unfortunately we are in a place where I don't know if they will.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right. Before I let you go, Steve, and I really appreciate your time, can you give out your website, how people can follow your tour? Obviously, you have a huge social media following, but give out any information you want to give out. And I know your tour is on your website, but just put that out there so people can follow you.
Sure. My home address. No. At Steve Hofstetter on pretty much every social media except for Twitter. I won't be a part of that cesspool. And stevehofstetter.com. I have a perpetual tour except for when I have a baby. But I have over 100 different tour dates on my website right now. And I did just for the first time, I did a specifically politically progressive show with Walter Masterson, and we were joined by Emily Galati and Kelsey Cook. And then we had some surprise guests. Omar Fateh, who is probably to be the next mayor of Minneapolis, joined us as well. It was so cool. And it was also like Liz Winstead and Frank Conniff were in the audience, which was crazy. And we're hoping to do more of those shows as well. That was so fun.
Would you ever consider being on a CNN panel talking politics or going on the Piers Morgan show? Like, would you ever consider doing something like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was for a while, but again, before Twitter was a cesspool, when I called all 7 swing states correctly before they did in 2020, I kept tweeting at MSNBC and I was like, hire me, you cowards. And, that's probably not the best approach, but
I think you would be great at that. Well, I do Pierce like once a month, and it would be great if you can get on that panel when I'm on there. So maybe we can make that happen because yeah, I will. I'm going to send, if you give me permission, I will send them your information.
100%. And I don't know if Pierce will necessarily like it, but the producers will.
Well, I hope they trust my judgment. I don't know. They have me on a lot. And I just think you would tear up a Jack Posobiec. I've debated Roger Stone on there, Clay Travis, just despicable people. And you would just tear them a new one. So I will do that, Steve. And I appreciate you coming on as you have in the past. And there's a reason why you've always been one of my favorites, man. You're extremely funny and talented, and keep up the great work, my friend. And we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thanks for the support as always.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you, my friend. That's Steve Hofstetter, everybody. I would love to get Steve on with me on Piers Morgan. Are you kidding me? That would be fun. There's a lot of people that, I was able to get Adam Mockler on the Piers Morgan show with me. That was like, 3 weeks ago? And that was a lot of fun. And Adam has been blowing up. He's like everywhere now. They had him on CNN after that appearance. They've had him on Chris Cuomo's show. So, God, I would love to be on a panel with Steve. I'm going to send them Steve's info because I think Steve would do a great job on some of those shows. And, boy, it would make my job a lot easier if I had somebody like Steve on the panel with me. Oh, my God. Can you imagine Steve Hofstetter getting into a debate with, like, Jack Posobiec? Or, anybody of that nature, like anybody. Can you imagine? Oh, my God, kill it. All right, so here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to take some phone calls. So there's a lot we talked about in the first segment. And just to kind of review before I open up the phone lines. So Donald Trump obviously did an interview earlier today. He bragged about his relationship with Vladimir Putin. He blamed Ukraine for the war on Fox and Friends this morning. And the new co-deputy director of the FBI is saying they should charge Joe Biden because of student debt relief that he put in place. So we're talking about that. And the fact that somebody like a Jack Posobiec gets a media credential, the guy who started the whole Pizzagate lie, it's not really a controversy, it's a lie, conspiracy theory. They gave him a press credential today, and he asked the first question. I mean, it's like you can't even get any lower, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, MAGA callers are always welcome to call in and have their chance to debate me. I always welcome that as well. The number 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Kurt. Kurt is leading us off here on PTL. Hey, Kurt, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn, Connecticut.
I didn't know there was a Brooklyn, Connecticut. I learned something new today.
Well, we're up in the northeast corner, about 5 miles from Rhode Island and 10 miles from Massachusetts.
I should know that. I grew up in Connecticut, so I should know that. I'm embarrassed that I didn't. But anyway, Kurt, thanks for calling in.
Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from near the Hartford area. So that's where I.
Okay.
Yeah. What's on your mind today, Kurt?
Well, I'm talking about the orange turf.
Yeah, we all are. That's for sure.
Everybody knows who I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely. I think we all know who you're talking about. Yeah. Also the adjudicated sexual abuser and the 34 count felon. We can throw that in there too.
Well, first thing I heard was, I heard they were canceling all the school trips to the White House because kids can't be within 500 feet of a pedophile.
Yeah. Well, he can't be within 500 feet of a pedophile. Then, I guess he can't be. Yeah. I guess he can't be within 500 feet of the Epstein files. We know he's in there too.
Right. So and brother, I just want to tell you, I love your show.
Oh, well,
I started watching about 2 months ago, and it's like, oh my God, here's somebody that's not afraid to fucking tell them the truth.
Oh, we got to watch the language, my friend, because we're on the radio too. But I appreciate your compliments. That really means a lot. And I learned something new today. There's a Brooklyn, Connecticut. I never knew that until now. Brooklyn, Connecticut, and I'm from Connecticut. So I learned something new today. Hey, thanks for the call, Kurt. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support. I'm glad you found the show. Call back anytime. Just don't swear. I can't swear on the air. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Chris. Chris is next up on PTL. What's going on, Chris?
Not much. I really want to know why, if Trump really wants to distract us from the Epstein files, why doesn't he do something that everyone can agree with, like legalize weed, end stock buybacks, release the baby oil or Diddy party videos that he was involved in? I mean, any of these would actually distract me for about 45 minutes. Sorry, those are my birds. Any one of those would distract me for 45 minutes at least, and I would never talk about those Epstein files for at least that amount of time.
Isn't it interesting that, they will go after Democrats for just taking a picture with somebody, but yet Donald Trump was Epstein's best friend for like 10 years. And he invited him to Mar-a-Lago and he was hanging out with him at his wedding. And yet MAGA Republicans don't seem to want to talk about that. But let's talk about the fact that, Kamala Harris might have met Puff Daddy and took a picture with him. I mean, these people are really insane, aren't they? They're insane.
Oh, seriously. He could honestly raise the marginal tax rates on the wealthy. He could prevent overseas companies from buying our homes. He could release the sex tapes of himself with his daughter. Again, these would distract me from thinking about him in the Epstein files, but he won't do it.
I actually believe that there was sex trafficking going on at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump self-admitted that he had underage girls working at Mar-a-Lago and that their relationship was tarnished because allegedly Jeffrey Epstein took at least one of those young girls to an alleged spa when we know that Epstein didn't have a spa. I think we know what was going on there. So I'm wondering why people don't ask more questions. I watched this Caroline Leavitt presser today, and I just think some of these media members it's like they're afraid to ask the pressing questions. It's like they're afraid. And it drives me nuts. It really is starting to piss me off. We need more Jim Acostas in there. We need more people that are going to challenge Caroline Leavitt, and there's not enough of them.
Yep, I agree.
Thanks for the call, my friend. Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283. MAGA callers always welcome to call into the show. Let's go to Jake. Jake is next up on PTL. Hey, Jake, what's up? Thanks for calling in. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. I'm calling from Denver.
Denver, Colorado. All right. Is that home of Lauren Boebert? Can you ask her?
I'm not really.
Jake, can you ask
Go ahead.
her? Can you ask her, please, for me? Is she available to go to a Beetlejuice play tonight? I'll bring the vape.
I don't know if her blood alcohol level will be low enough to permit that. I don't know about that one.
I'll bring the vape, and she just needs to bring her 2 hands, and I'll be a very happy man. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm so immature. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Hey, I just wanted to comment on a couple things going on with this whole Gavin Newsom situation. These tweets, I know you commented on it a few minutes ago, are just hilarious, and I'm loving it. And also, a larger issue with him I want to talk about is this whole gerrymandering thing. If you'd asked me a couple years ago if I thought it would be okay to be gerrymandering, gerrymandering back towards the mega people, I wouldn't have been for it. But I think as I've heard you say many times, we're in uncharted territory here, and we really need to fight fire with fire. What do you think about that?
I've been saying that for years. I have so much respect for Michelle Obama, but I'll tell you something, my friend. When she said, when they go low, we go high, that was many years ago. I don't think she would say the same thing now. I'm not saying you have to stoop to Donald Trump's level, but at times you need to do what Gavin Newsom does. Let's mock him for who he is and how ridiculous he is. So at times, maybe you do. And you have to fight fire with fire. So, I agree with you. I agree with you 150%. Thank you for the call, my friend. I always appreciate it when Trump supporters call into the show because I think it takes a little bit of bravery to be willing to do that. And I believe we have somebody on the line named Aaron, who is a Donald Trump supporter. Aaron, thanks for calling in. Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Michigan again. It's your favorite Trump supporter.
I'm sorry. I don't take this the wrong way. I don't remember, but that's okay. I appreciate you calling in. So what's on your mind today, Aaron?
I know you and I got into an argument the other week, but if I can make it up to you, I would love to take you on a gondola ride at the Venetian sometime for $40.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I had a fetish for middle-aged white men that are Trump supporters, then maybe you would have a chance, but I'm going to have to pass up that opportunity. Aaron, let's try to get serious here for a moment. Are you happy, and be serious with me here. Are you happy with Vladimir Putin stepping on American soil and then rolling out the red carpet for him and Joe Biden, and saying that Joe Biden is the reason why this war started and Donald Trump not answering any questions in the press conference, like as an American, which I assume you are? Were you comfortable with that?
I think the meeting should have happened somewhere else, not in America. I mean, I just wouldn't want that guy being here because I despise the guy personally.
Well, I agree with you. We agree on that. I don't think it should have been in America either. I completely agree with you. Why do you think Donald Trump wanted to have it in America?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Maybe he doesn't want to leave the country, make it closer halfway in Alaska. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what's in his mind. I mean, he's kind of hard to keep up with every day.
Can you help me understand this, Aaron? Because a lot of MAGA Republicans are saying how great of a job Donald Trump is doing getting people to the table. By the way, Joe Biden got people to the table too. But what has Donald Trump accomplished so far? What has he accomplished? He hasn't punished Russia for anything. He's once again earlier today, he blames Ukraine for starting the war, which we know didn't happen. What has he done? What has he accomplished when it comes to this conflict?
Honestly, I think this war is going to be going on for a long time, and I just don't see it ending anytime soon. I hate to say it, I'm not trying to rip on Biden or Trump. I just think that I wouldn't be taking the victory lap before anything got done. That's just how I personally feel.
So I agree. I agree with you. So why is it then that he campaigned on I'm going to end the war within 24 hours? Because I think a lot of people believed him. I don't think you did, but a lot of people believed him.
Some did, but it takes years to end war. It doesn't happen in 24 hours unless you have some ties.
All right.
To it.
So we agree on that. Okay, Aaron, you seem like a reasonable guy. So tell me, why did you vote for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris? What was it about Kamala Harris that you couldn't stand and you couldn't vote for her over a 34-count felon adjudicated rapist? What was it about Harris that you said, oh man, I can't vote for her?
I've just always been a lifetime Republican. I mean, Trump wasn't my first choice in 2016 in the primaries. I mean, they kind of just vote for the nominee, and I try to give him a chance. But I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out, there's things I wish he wouldn't do. I wish he would spend less time on Twitter. I wish he'd focus more on what's happening versus pop culture issues.
But didn't he
wish
do
for
that?
time.
But I agree with you, but don't you know he did that in his first administration? What made you think he was going to change this go around? And I understand you say you're a lifelong Republican. I understand that. But I think the question's more important than what party you're in, right? I mean, you do agree with me. He's a 34 count felon. He's an adjudicated abuser. If not for him, January 6th doesn't happen. And I guess, were you willing to put all those issues to the side just because you're a lifelong Republican?
I mean, I voted for John Kasich in 2016 primary. He was my first pick. I thought old age would mellow him out a bit, just him, becoming an older type of guy. I thought that would at least somehow take the edge off. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay,
like maybe age
but what was it about Harris that I understand you're a lifelong Republican? Let me ask it a different way. What are some of the policies on the left that Kamala proposed, or some of the stuff that Joe Biden did that you didn't like?
Well, I just think that I'm more like I like lower taxes. I'm more big on the border. I like to have the border closed.
All right, so let's start with taxes. Donald Trump has the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% in the history of this country in the big and beautiful bill. Does that bother you at all if you want to talk about tax breaks?
No, because everyone gets a tax cut regardless of who gets one. We all benefit.
Right.
You're going to get one.
I'm not benefiting anywhere near as much as the richest people in this country are, and you know that. Kamala Harris had a plan where if you had a household income of under $400,000, she wanted to cut the taxes down to 26%. She campaigned on that. Donald Trump hasn't done that, and you know, of all people, you know this. The big and beautiful bill gives the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%. And in Donald Trump's first administration go around, he gave all the tax loopholes to CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies and the tech billionaires. So if you care about, and I'm going to assume you're being genuine when you tell me you care about tax breaks for the middle class and the poor, you really think that Donald Trump is the guy? He's the guy that's taking away Medicaid from 15 million plus Americans. He's the guy that's taking food stamps off the table. So if that is one of your primary issues or criticisms with the Democrats, why wouldn't you vote for Harris then? I don't understand. Trump's the guy that's taking all these government programs away from the poor.
I mean, the cuts that were in my congresswoman here, I think she was actually mentioned on your show. Like, she actually said it right. Like, scaling back some of the Medicare stuff and Medicaid, like, we have to make sure that people who are fit to work are using these programs.
Okay, but that's okay, but I understand, but you know that's not, you understand that 30% of people who are working in the United States are not offered health care. And those that are offered health care, almost half of them can't afford it. So the overwhelming majority of these people are going to lose their health care coverage that are actually working. And the right-wing talking point is, well, you got to get off your ass and work. We heard the same thing about unemployment benefits, the same thing about welfare, the same thing about food stamps. There's always going to be a small percentage of people that are going to take advantage of it. But you and I well know, I assume you know, that there's a lot of people in this country that are working that can't afford the health care or not offered it. What do we do about those people? In the
and I agree. Yeah, because I think a lot of the people feel like Trump's base. I mean, like all the people who worship him, like he's a god with flags on their house and all that. I mean, a lot of those people are probably just quote on their ass and not working. I mean, I wonder how many of those people are receiving subsidies or being hypocrites at the same time. I'm just throwing that out there, like down south.
Okay, as I said, there might be some lazy people out there, but I could also say that 30% of the people that are working in this country aren't offered healthcare benefits. Listen, dude, that's a lot of people, Aaron. That's a lot of people that are many of them are going to lose their healthcare coverage, and Republicans are lying when they say, "Oh no, this is going to do a better. This will be better for Americans. It makes Medicaid stronger." No, it doesn't. There's a lot of people that are going to be sick. They're going to die. There's a lot of people that are going to be going to the emergency room because they can't afford the medicine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, Aaron, this is the guy you voted for. On day one, he signed an executive order getting rid of Plan B and Plan D that Joe Biden put in place for capping insulin costs. Millions of Americans now do not have their insulin capped at $35. Donald Trump signed that executive order on day one. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to convince me that you would say that Donald Trump is helping the middle class and the poor. Look at what he's doing with these tariffs, Aaron. Look at all these businesses that are shutting down. Look at all these people that are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. They need those healthcare benefits.
Yeah, I understand. Like, there has to be a better way of doing it. If I vote for Trump, it's more like, just, I don't know, I just couldn't vote for Harris. And
Why?
I think
Help me understand. Help me understand, Aaron.
I think Trump's made mistakes in his life. Yeah, I don't think he's the best guy. He has issues, but it's just, he's going to come, he's going to go, he's going to be gone. We'll never have to hear from him, hopefully, again. After
Well, I don't think
25.
that's going to happen, but would you consider it a mistake when you intentionally go into a teenage girl's locker room to see those teenage girls half naked without their permission? See, I think it's a mistake when you lock your keys in your car. It's not a mistake. It was intentional. Do you think it's a mistake that he's in the Epstein files? Is it a mistake that he's a 34-count felon? Is it a mistake that this is the guy who said, I don't want black people counting my money in my Atlantic City casinos. I want Jews counting my money. Is it a mistake that he was sued thousands of times on discrimination lawsuits because he didn't want black people living in his complexes in Manhattan? See, I don't think that's a mistake. Is it a mistake when he takes out a page in the New York Times saying that the Parkland Five, should get the death penalty? And then when they're proven innocent through DNA, he doesn't retract, doesn't apologize. See, I don't think those are mistakes. He's just an awful human being, an adjudicated rapist, a convicted felon, and a guy who is not a good businessman. He's not a good businessman. He was given a $500 million company from his dad. And, look at all of his businesses that have filed for bankruptcy. He's a con man. Would you really consider that like mistakes? Like, what if that was your daughter? Let me ask you this. I don't know if you have kids, Aaron, okay? But I'm asking.
I don't.
Okay, understand. But if you had a daughter that was 13 or 14 years old and some creepy old man went in there without permission that was running the pageant and got a look at her half naked, would you vote for that guy?
I would not, no.
Okay, so I appreciate your honesty, Aaron. So my question then is, why does it only apply to you? Why can't it apply to other people?
I guess I've messed up when I voted for him. I just don't know what to say. And I thought, you and I talked about this before, but maybe he isn't the best person. I just think that ready to move on to 28, really. I mean, I don't know what to say.
If it's J.D. Vance versus, by the way, I appreciate you admitting that. There's a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump today that are not willing to admit that they made a mistake. So I do appreciate you admitting that. If it's 2028 now, the elections are around the corner, and it's like a J.D. Vance or one of these MAGA Republicans versus, I don't know, a Josh Shapiro, a Gavin Newsom, what do you do?
I would write in Sydney Sweeney, honestly.
Okay, well, I'll take that as a joke, but I do appreciate your call, Aaron. Thank you very much. I don't think he wanted to answer that question. But anytime I can get a MAGA supporter to finally admit that they made a mistake, that's not an easy thing to do. So I guess I'll take that as a victory. I guess I will. Anyway, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Las Vegas and let's go to Jeff. Jeff is next on PTL. Hey, Jeff, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
The person you interviewed there said that Fräulein Chrissy Nome shot a dog.
Well, yeah, she did. Yeah.
Wow. What kind of dog?
I don't have all the details right in front of me, but she did shoot a dog because she claimed that the dog was being unruly and it was behavior oriented. You can look that up. It's all over social media.
Wow. Because what I'm thinking is Fräulein Chrissy Nome, that should be a felony.
Well, it should be. I thought that was illegal too, and she openly admitted that. I'm trying to remember whether it was in her book. I believe that was in her book when she actually admitted in her book to shooting a dog because she didn't like the dog's behavior or something of that nature. So you're right. That should be illegal. I agree with you. Unless a dog is attacking somebody, I don't think you should be allowed to do that.
No, it's definitely a felony. Oh, and another thing, Trump and the Trump regime, remember when they said they had a beautiful plan for Medicare and to get rid of Obamacare?
Yes.
Well, this is their plan, which is no plan,
right,
which is just to get rid of Obamacare and get rid of the health care.
You're right. I mean, do you remember when Donald Trump was saying, oh, you're going to get that health care plan and replacement plan in 2 weeks. You're going to get it in a month. You're going to get it in 2 weeks. You're going to get it in a month. Well, guess what? Donald Trump had 4 years as president. There was no replacement plan. Then he had another 4 years to come up with a replacement plan. Didn't do that. This is not a serious policymaker. He's not a serious person. All right, let's see here. 702-221-7283. Always a weird name. Democrat MAGA calling into the show. I really don't know what that means. It's a double entendre, but that's okay. I'll entertain it. Hello, Democrat MAGA.
Hello, Brian. You remember me. I'm the Speaker of Truth, Justice, the American Way.
Well, I would respectfully disagree, but go ahead. You could make your point, and then we can discuss it. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have actually a question for you today.
Sure.
As you know, the Democrats as a party is polling at their lowest poll numbers, maybe in 30 years, 40 years, something like that. So tell me, you got the midterms coming around the corner. You said got to go out and vote, What are the Democrats coming out for? What's new, exciting? Not what they're against. Everything they're against is against us. What are they for? Because if you roll out the old playbook of defund the police, you can steal whatever you want.
Which Democrat? Okay, hold on. Let's stop. Which prominent Democrat in office wants to defund the police?
Well, nobody's saying that now because it's toxic.
No. Hold on. What prominent Democrat said it back then? Name me one.
I think Crockett did.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
Who's the black lady from California? The older lady.
She didn't either.
You got to get in their face.
She didn't either. I know who you're talking about. She didn't either. No, you're wrong. You just made the claim. No, it's not okay. You just made a generic claim that Democrats wanted to defund the police. That is not true.
Well, they wanted Summer of Love, and they wanted you to steal up to $1,000.
Whoa. Name me one prominent Democrat that said they want you to steal up to $1,000.
California, you could steal up to $1,000.
Name me one prominent. That doesn't mean they wanted you to steal up to $1,000. It means they didn't want to go after you in the way that maybe you wanted people to go after them. That doesn't mean they wanted you to steal. And by the way, they did not want to defund the police. Well, if you have fair criticisms on the left, I'm happy to go over it with you. But you are saying things, sir, that are, with all due respect, not true. You're ill-informed.
Well, if you don't say it, but how you implement policy is saying it.
How you implement? What are you talking about?
If I don't come out and say, if I don't say anything, but I make a policy that says you can steal up to $900.
That's not what they did. That's not what they did. They said it's not a felony. Do you understand the difference? The guy who you voted for, is a 34-count felon, but you're worried about people that are shoplifting? That makes you a hypocrite, doesn't it?
Well, I'm just saying that was the old playbook.
That was not.
If I vote, what are they for right now? Give me three things to get me excited for the Democrats coming up in the midterms. That's new, fresh, and makes me excited. You or your callers.
Okay, so first of all, I'll give you three things that
not that you think, think of, but also that politicians have stated. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, I'll tell you starting out right now, I don't like the redistricting of maps. I don't like what they're doing in Texas. Unfortunately, the reason why Gavin Newsom is doing what he's doing because he's fighting back. But I don't like what they're doing in Texas. I don't like the fact that they want to get rid of FEMA. And they're not helping people in floods and helping people during national disasters. As you know, Joe Biden and the Democrats have been doing everything they can to give people more money and to support FEMA. The Republicans, hold on.
You're saying hold on.
You asked me. I'm just told you relief for people during natural disasters, giving people the ability to have health care when they need it the most, that are living, working and paycheck to paycheck. The big and beautiful bill takes away health care from over 15 million Americans. It's taking billions of dollars away from food stamps. And I don't want the richest people in this country getting the biggest tax breaks. Democrats would not do that, as they always say, pay your fair share. They want to raise minimum wage. Hold on, I'm not done yet. They want to raise. They want to raise minimum wage. They believe in giving women the right to choose, not telling women what to do with their own bodies, which is why half the country abortion is illegal. And in some of those states, if a young teenage girl is raped or the victim of incest, you have middle-aged white Republicans that are telling her you can't have an abortion. Guess what? It excites me to know.
Wrong.
Oh, really?
It's the Supreme Court.
Nope.
Senator cannot
Nope. You're wrong again. Guess what? Roe versus Wade was overturned. Let me ask you a question. Who's the person that helped overturn Roe versus Wade? Who are the people that did that?
Well, the justices.
Okay. Thank you. Now, who are the people that appointed them, who voted to overturn Roe versus Wade? What's the reason why?
Bush appointed some.
No, wrong.
Clinton has appointed justices.
Clinton is not the reason why Roe versus Wade was overturned. What is the main?
But that can't be your policy,
sir.
I can't say I'm running for I'm going to overturn.
Okay, let me help you out. The reason why let me help you out. The reason why Roe versus Wade was overturned is because Donald Trump became president, stacked the court, and he knew Kavanaugh and others that were appointed were going to overturn Roe versus Wade. So that is the reason. You're not scapegoating out of that one. Guess what, sir? It would excite me to know that women have the right to do what they want with their bodies. It would excite me.
How would you change it if you vote? If you're running for Senate or
bring Roe versus Wade back. What Kamala Harris wanted to do.
So how do you do that? How do you do that?
Did you hear about what Kamala Harris was trying to do, was trying to pass? Did you see what Kamala Harris campaigned about? What she wanted to bring back to the Supreme Court to try to bring Roe versus Wade back. There are ways of doing it. And guess what? MAGA Republicans don't want to do that. Are you pro-life or not? Like, do you call yourself pro-life? Are you anti-abortion? Where do you stand on this issue?
You're not going to believe this. I don't really have a strong, I can see both sides, believe it or not.
So tell me this. Explain this to me. Help me understand, Sir Aaron. Or I'm sorry, your name's not Aaron. Help me understand this, okay?
Democratic MAGA.
I got you. Help me understand this. Tell me what the side is of defending when a 13-year-old girl is raped or the victim of incest and her family and her want to have an abortion. Explain to me a logical defense of forcing that 13-year-old girl to have that rape baby. Please, I'm all ears. Help me understand that, sir.
I told you, I call balls and strikes. When you're right, you're right. You're right.
Well, you just said there's an argument for both sides. I just gave you a situation. You can't give me an argument for the right.
On that particular hypothetical, no, but I can make a hypothetical.
What do you mean? It's not a hypothetical. There are women in some countries and young girls that are the victims of incest or rape, and they're not allowed to have an abortion unless they go to another state. Geography should not rule over a woman's body. And it's MAGA Republicans that have allowed that to happen. Guess what? You asked me what excites me. That excites me to know that hopefully if we get a Democrat back in office, they will change that because it's despicable and it's disgusting.
If that is your main thing,
that is not my main thing. That is not my main thing. I've named 20 other things that you have looked over. I named a bunch of things before abortion that you completely forgot about that you don't want to entertain or talk about.
They're just talking, I want to give health care to everyone. To everybody wants.
Didn't say I wanted to give health care to everyone. That's another thing that you said that I did not say. What I did say is I'd be excited to know that we didn't have this big and beautiful bill where over 15 million people that overwhelmingly desperately need their medical coverage are going to lose it because of Donald Trump. I didn't say everybody, but what I will say is there's one side that supports government programs to help people that are struggling in this country. It could be welfare, it could be food stamps, it could be unemployment benefits. And then there's one party.
Clinton, when he eliminated 3 million people because he said you had to work 30 hours in order to get Social Security.
So you're trying to make the case. You're trying to make the Bill Clinton did not take away medical coverage for 15 million Americans. Bill Clinton did not
took away Social Security.
Bill Clinton did not completely take away Social Security either. So you're wrong on that one as well.
You have to work 30 hours under Bill Clinton.
I'm telling you,
it's not a lifelong. You cannot be on it for life.
Okay, well, guess what? MAGA Republicans are not putting in hours. They're going to be taking away medical coverage from people that are working full time in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck. If you don't believe me, you will see what happens. Tell me something that MAGA Republicans are doing right now, policy wise, that excites you. I just gave you a bunch of things. I just listed like 10 or 15 things that frustrate me. What excites you about Donald Trump? Tell me.
You gave me a bunch of things. I don't know if that excites the public to get off the bench for the midterms. It really doesn't.
Okay, so I'm asking you. You voted. You're not answering my question. You just asked me what excites me about Democrats. I gave you a bunch of things that I think Democrats would do if they were in office right now that would benefit people in this country. Tell me what excites you about Donald Trump, who clearly you support. What excites you about Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump is irrelevant for the midterms.
Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He's been the president now for 7 months.
Tell me
what excites you or excites you about Trump, why you supported Trump. Tell me what excites you. I'm asking you.
To tell you the truth right now, again.
The tariffs excite you? So billions of dollars of Americans and American consumers paying for this, that excites you?
No, it doesn't actually.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to something else. We've learned that tariffs don't excite you. Name me something that excites you, please, sir.
Right now, I would say, okay, I'll tell you one thing.
I'm waiting.
So I'm going to phrase. One thing we have to stop is everything can't be a threat to democracy. So
what excites you?
So actually tightening up crime rates in cities kind of excites me.
Okay, so what has he done? What has he done? What has he done to tighten up crime rates, quote, in cities? By the way, most of the big cities in this country with the highest crime rates are red states. Okay, red, not blue. So what has he done? Has he done anything about gun control? What has he done? You think deploying the National Guard into D.C. is going to lower the crime rates?
So if the National Guard goes in and they arrest, I think 80 people or so, that's 80 more people that would have been arrested last week.
So you think he's
And
lowering? So you think
Democrats?
So you think he's lowering? So you support bringing in the National Guard and you care about lowering crime rates? Okay, let's talk about that.
I do.
Okay, all right. So let's be fair. Let's talk about that then. Good, I do too. What would you say about the 1,500 people that were pardoned, many of whom beat police officers on January 6th? Was that lowering the crime rates, pardoning a bunch of violent criminals who beat cops?
Again, you got me. When you're right, you're right. I got to call balls.
Okay, so let's move on the crime. We moved on from tariffs. We moved on from crime. What's something else that excites you about Donald Trump?
All right, you're good.
It sounds like you have it sounds like you have a Joe Biden stutter. Why do you call yourself Democrat
you don't
MAGA?
have anything for me. You're just
I gave you everything. I talked to you about abortion. Excuse me. What's wrong? Do you have MAGA wax in your ears? I talked to you about abortion. I talked to you.
Abortion can't be changed in the midterms. It's irrelevant.
First of all, don't tell me abortion is. First of all, don't tell me abortion is irrelevant, because there's a lot of women out there that are scared, and you're a man and you don't know what it's like to be pregnant. Let me tell you.
Saying for the midterm votes, it has no bearing.
Well, guess what? I'm speaking in general terms, not just the midterms. The differences between Democrats and Republicans, and you clearly voted for a Republican in November. Okay, I didn't just mention abortion. Okay, I talked about a lot of other issues. I talked about healthcare. I talked about taxes. I talked about food stamps.
So, healthcare. What does that mean? I'm gonna give healthcare to everyone. How do you do that? What are we doing?
First of all, again, you're misquoting me. I never said, quote, give healthcare to everyone. What I did say was, don't get rid of and say 15, 16, 17 million people right now. Most of them desperately need their Medicaid benefits. Don't take it away from them. I didn't even say add it to the system. I said in this big and beautiful bill, Democrats wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be taking away 17 million people and getting off their Medicaid. Why is that so hard for you to understand?
No, because California gave all that to illegal immigrants and bankrupted states.
California.
They were giving free health care.
Okay.
If I went to the emergency room, I had to pay my $1,000 deductible.
Okay, sir.
An immigrant didn't have to pay their own.
Okay, sir, can you tell me where the law states that if you're an undocumented immigrant, that you get that type of government assistance? Can you tell me the law that allows anyone in this country, if you're an undocumented immigrant without a social security number, that you can apply for Medicaid benefits? Can you please tell me where that law stands?
Not Medicaid, healthcare. You got free healthcare.
I'm talking about Medicaid. You don't listen. I'm trying to be patient with you. I will repeat myself now for the 5th time. In the big and beautiful bill, over 15 million people are going to lose their Medicaid. That's part of the healthcare system. Over 15 million people are not going to get the healthcare that they desperately need. It excites me that Democrats wouldn't do that if they were in office. But because Donald Trump is the president in this big and beautiful bill, over 15 million people are going to lose their medical benefits in this specific situation. Medicaid. Why is that hard for you to understand? Why can't you just say that's wrong?
Why are these 15 million people losing it? Just arbitrarily?
I'm going back in circles right now, sir. I appreciate you calling in, and I will explain myself again, even though you've made yourself sound ridiculous in this conversation. 30% of the workforce. That means, sir, I'll speak slowly and distinctly because you're a little slow. I understand. You're a MAGA supporter. 30% means 3 out of 10 people that are working in this country are not offered healthcare benefits. Many of those people are on something called Medicaid. Why? Because they're not offered benefits. Almost half of the people in this country that are working can't afford their health care benefits. Many of those people are also on something called Medicaid. I hope I cleared that up for you, sir. I rolled you a bunch of different things that would excite me if a Democrat was president rather than a Republican. Then I asked you what excited you about Trump. You said tariffs, and then you said you got me there. Then you started to talk about lowering crime rates. By the way, Donald Trump hasn't really done that. And then when I talked about January 6th, you say, okay, you got me there. So you didn't name anything that could defend your argument. You admitted you got schooled, and it doesn't register in your brain fact from fiction. I can't explain the same thing to you over and over and over again. You're an ill-informed person. Stop watching your Newsmax and your Fox News and educate yourself. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to the vet. He calls himself the vet.
Hey,
where are you calling from,
Hey,
sir?
how you doing? I'm calling from Miami, Florida, buddy, and I hate MAGA.
So do I. That makes two of us.
But listen, I'm real quick. I took my medication. I'm a veteran. I suffer from PTSD, so I had to take the day off today. Smoke a little weed, relax. Anyway, Donald Trump said something yesterday that they started talking about voting and election, to be specific. And Zelensky said, we're going to have an election, but not during the war. And Trump latched on to that. I went to a war. I won't let my kids join the military. It's not good. Okay, you like it when you're young and you realize you fucked up when you're old.
Okay, watch the language. Watch the language. Watch the language. Can't swear.
Okay. Where was I? Oh, he wants to get us involved in the war. That's what he wants. That's his game plan. He wants to get us involved in a war, and people got to pay attention to that because Republicans are good for two things: starting wars and destroying economies. And that's it. I'll listen to what you got to say.
Yeah. First of all, most importantly, let me say this. Thank you for your service. And I'm sorry for the medical issues that you have. And you're a hero. And unfortunately, when it comes to our brave men and women in uniform, there are people that voted for Trump. And Donald Trump called people like you suckers and losers. He said he didn't.
He won't ever get my vote. Any of them.
I understand. Neither will he get mine, but especially if you're a veteran. And he said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. Right then and there, that moment should have been a disqualification for running for president back in 2015. But yet, we look at ourselves in the situation that we are in now as a country, and I'm just amazed. What would you say to your fellow veterans that still support Donald Trump? What would be your message to them?
You're an idiot. We took an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's an oath we took. We don't take an oath to a king or to anybody else. And guess what? If our order is an illegal order, I can decline it. I will not shoot women and children, will not take money or do anything unethical or unprofessional. I'm a Marine, okay? I let it out of the bag. I'm a Marine. And he has no respect. And how can you latch your wagon to that piece of garbage? It amazes me because if you think back, this is how we got our independence, because of a king, a tyrant. And now you want to go back to that? I can't understand it. I don't understand. And that's what bothers me. And why I don't go to work, because I got to work with Trump supporters, and I can't take it for every day. I got to get a break from them.
Yeah, that's
I don't
why.
socialize with Trump. I don't socialize with Trump supporters because I have kids. I have a future. I want to live my life in, they bring out the worst in me, worst thoughts. Not doing something violent, but I just can't take them. They give me a headache.
Oh, how do you think I feel every day? I mean, I keep Tylenol. I keep Tylenol in business. Let me tell you, my friend. Hey, I appreciate your phone call.
Last thing about the veterans. If you want to support that guy, move to Russia. He's looking for people to fight.
That's true.
You can go over there and die for somebody who doesn't care about you.
That's true.
But if you're an American, remember, we're all Americans. On 9/11, we were all Americans. On January 6th, no, that was ridiculous. And don't forget the oath you took. And that's it, man.
Amen, my friend. Great phone call. Thank you for your service. You're a hero, and I appreciate you. The YouTube super chat. I want to go to Alexa. This is a very sensitive topic. Alexa says, I had an abortion when I was 28 years old, and I just want women to have the choice. If a person doesn't want one, they don't have to have one. I agree, Alexa, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, and I'm sure you weren't jumping for joy, and we weren't jumping for joy, but MAGA Republicans make it sound like women are jumping for joy when they have an abortion. No, it's just a choice that you deserve to be able to make for yourself, and I support that choice, Alexa, and thank you for your support. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Julie. Julie is next up on PTL. Hello, Julie.
I'm completely speechless after the veteran got on. I feel bad because I have PTSD too, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the feeling.
Sure.
I was going to the food pantry today, and I found out that there's food pantries here in Nashville being closed down because of you know who taking funding.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Brad, I'm speechless.
No,
especially after that one dude.
I understand. Well,
So-
I'm sorry. I'm sorry what you're going through, by the way. I really am, the PTSD. And I'm sorry that, I want somebody like you, just like the last caller. I want somebody like you, my dear, to have the healthcare benefits that you need, to have the mental health help that you need. You hear MAGA Republicans always talking about mental health after a mass shooting, yet they don't want to allocate funds to help people like you. I support people like you, and I want you to be able to have the help you need, and I do appreciate your call, my dear. Thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Frank. Frank, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for taking my phone call. You kind of vaguely mentioned the Democrats down in Texas.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to a citizen and a politician that has their own right to feel they can go one way or another? How can they do that?
Well, I'm going to have to look into that situation a little bit further, Frank, and I would ask that give me a buzz tomorrow because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I know a little bit about what you're talking about, but I try not to share opinions on things unless I know the whole story, Frank. So give me a day to look into that, and then do me a favor and call back tomorrow, and I'll try to give you the most educated answer that I can because I don't like to do what MAGA Republicans do and just throw things at a wall when I don't know what I'm talking about and hope it sticks. So, Frank, I apologize for that, but I'll look into that tomorrow, and I'll get back to you on that. 702-221-7283. MAGA callers are always welcome. It usually doesn't go very well for them, but they're certainly welcome to call in. Again, that number 702-221-7283. Why don't we go to Keith? Keith is next up on PTL, I believe. Hey, Keith, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, my friend? Keith, are you there?
Brian,
hey.
Yeah, Brian.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm an Army vet. That dope they called a little while ago, Democrat MAGA.
Yeah.
God, what an idiot he is. Maxwell Frost, about a week ago, he was in a committee meeting and he said, "You pro-lifers, you just want women to have children that get shot in school." And Virginia Fox was the chairman of the, and she looked like she was going to stroke out. But I got another thing. I live on Social Security. Because of my health, I can't work.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to work. But I live on Social Security, and it's less than $16,000 a year. So I'm on Medicare and Medicaid. I also have VA coverage, but guess what? My VA doctor, I only get to see him like every 6 months. And now they're cutting all the jobs, and it's like, it's just crazy. And, if these people had to be in my shoes and live on what I live on and go through the Medicare and Medicaid loopholes that you have to go through to get it, which means that undocumented people are not going to get it. Flat out, they just can't get it because, I had to jump through so many hoops to get on it. It's just crazy. And, I had another thing I was going to talk to you about. Being an Army vet,
Yep.
I was in 2nd Armored Division down in Fort Hood. If I would have been tasked with going to that stupid birthday parade, I would have refused that as an unlawful order. Also, those guys that rolled out the red carpet in Alaska, I would refuse that order too.
Of course, because you're a man of dignity. And by the way, thank you so much for your service to this nation. And you have a moral compass. Can you imagine if you're serving this country and you're asked by somebody in the Trump administration to literally roll out a red carpet for an evil, murderous dictator? I don't blame you, sir. I wouldn't want to do that either. Can you imagine the poor bastards that had to do that? Oh, my God. Brutal. I'm with you 100%. Let's go to X. X is next on PTL. Hello, X.
Hello. How are you, Brian?
Good.
Brian, just one thing I want to ask you, for 2028, predictions for elections. I'm a betting man. So, me, I don't watch any mainstream news, whether it'll be CNN, Fox. I watch.
If you're asking me, I think Gavin Newsom. If the elections were tomorrow, which clearly they're not, I would say Gavin Newsom would be the favorite to be the president of the United States. I think he'll be running against J.D. Vance. That's what I think is going to happen.
What are the swing states? And who's more favorable to win? Like as a betting man.
So it was so close, and I know that Kamala Harris lost all the swing states, but she lost all the swing states by like 350,000 votes. So that's very close. So I think that is dependent on what happens here in the next 3 years. I'm not going to throw this out of the equation. Donald Trump getting us in an ill-advised war, not having an election. I'm not going to sit here. Do I think that's likely? No, I don't. Do I think it's plausible? Could it happen? Yes. I don't put anything past Donald Trump. Could J.D. Vance run on a ticket with Donald Trump? That's also very plausible. But I do think
what I'm saying is,
yeah, go ahead.
What I was asking for, what are the main swing states, and who's more, and are the swing state sides who's more favorable on those swing states to win? What I'm saying is, what are the key swing states?
It's obviously Pennsylvania is a big one. Obviously, you can say Michigan is a big one. There's a lot of key swing states. But the only thing that I'm trying to tell you, sir, is that Kamala Harris lost all the swing states by a combined total of about 350,000 votes. That is not a lot. It was very close. A lot has changed since then. But if you ask me right now who I think the front runner is for the Democrats right now, it would certainly have to be Gavin Newsom. And a lot can change until then. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. That's 702-221-SAVE. I think I scared all the MAGAs from calling in as usual. Let's go to Tez. Tez is next on PTL. What's up, Tez?
Hey, Brian. I don't know why these people call you up with no ammunition and they get peppered with empirical facts.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. I'm listening.
It's really hard to grapple with, but I did want to commend you and point out one thing for you, because I listen to your show and call in all the time. And I just want to commend you for having empathy. When you watch these right-wing talk shows, nobody has any empathy whatsoever.
It's true.
The fact that you respect our veterans, honor our veterans, and verbally commend our veterans is just an incredible characteristic. And I just want to tell you, I think that's one of the reasons why so many people listen to your show.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and it pains me to say this, but you know how much I dislike Ron DeSantis and J.D. Vance, right? I can't stand their guts. However, one thing I will always respect is their service to the country. And that's the difference, I think, between people like me and a lot of MAGA Republicans. There's a lot of differences, but that's one of them. I don't care whether you have an R next to your name or a D next to your name. If you serve this country honorably, I will always have respect for that. Donald Trump dodged the military multiple times. We know that for a fact. And I don't know how anybody who has served or somebody that is currently serving could support him. I don't understand it. He's the guy who dodged the military because he's a coward. I have the utmost respect for our military. Listen, I had a lot of respect for John McCain. I didn't agree with him on a lot of issues. I think you could make the case that he was extremely pro-war and he was somewhat of a warmonger. However, he was a hero, and I had a lot of respect for him as a human being. And when Donald Trump said he didn't respect him because he was captured, that's all you need to know about who Donald Trump is. He's a terrible human being and a piece of human garbage who has crapped on our military time and time again. And putting Pete Hegseth as the guy in charge goes to show you the type of character that he wants in there. That no character, woman abusers, horrible human beings. But yeah, I will always have respect for our brave men and women in uniform. Why? Because without them, I wouldn't be able to do a radio show every day. I wouldn't have the freedom to be able to do a show like this.
Agree 100%. Keep it up, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Damon. Damon is next up on PTL. Hi, Damon.
Hey, what's going on, Brian?
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing. That guy, you got to admit that he made a mistake. I don't know if that's the first time, but it's the first time I can remember you got one to even say they made a mistake. Have you gotten one to say that the only reason they didn't vote for her was because she was black?
I can't recall. Well, first of all, none of my friends, I would never associate with someone who said that. Let me just be very clear.
Callers. I'm talking about callers.
I don't recall, but I can tell you that there are a lot of MAGA people that have called into this show that might not say it publicly, but privately, that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't vote for her. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, Brian, Yeah, but as I'm listening, like I was listening to that guy and the other MAGA callers that call in, and they just won't give you excuse. They won't give you a policy they don't like, or if they give you something, you shoot it down. I think you're good enough, Brian, to get one of them to admit they were black. If you can get a MAGA to admit he was wrong, I want to see you get one to admit that she was black, because it's so obvious
guess
that
what?
you're sitting here listening to it.
Damon, I'm gonna break a little PTL breaking news with you right now, and it has something to do with what you're talking about. So I'm gonna be doing some man on the street stuff in the coming weeks. Means I'm gonna be out there with a camera person, a professional, and I'm gonna be debating MAGA people out on the streets. And I believe security. Yeah, well, I believe that I'm going to get some people maybe to admit that. But I'm doing a contest on the show, and I'm going to announce this now. I'm going to need a sign. I'm going to need some sort of sign that says, I hate Trump, I hate MAGA, prove me wrong, something like that. So anybody that has an idea or can send me an image of something that I should be holding up as a sign, and I'll give you credit for it, please email me. And that's the sign that I will use every single time I'm out and about and I want to debate MAGA supporters. So if you want to get in on that, Damon, if you have any ideas, email me. My email's on the bottom of the screen.
Bottom of the screen. All right, cool, Brian. But the thing these soldiers keep saying about how they would deny an order, that's been what's been on my mind the most, because I talk to a lot of soldiers with the new job I got. Okay. And I keep thinking, this young man who was a nice man and he was raised right, I can tell. But what's going to happen when he does? Because it's just the beginning now, Brian.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when he declare martial law? What's going to happen when he gives police complete immunity?
Yeah.
That's when they really going to have to say no. And I wouldn't want to be a soldier for all the in China right now, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, I agree. I think we could be headed towards martial law, Damon. I really do. And it is interesting. Let me ask you one more question before I let you go. Do you find it interesting that Donald Trump only seems to call out the cities that have black mayors? He's done it in D.C. He's done it in Chicago. He's done it in Baltimore. Why is it he only calls out the cities, it seems like, with black mayors?
Well, the thing is this, Brian. Donald Trump does nothing well but racism. He might give nicknames okay, but the only thing he does well is racism. So for me, I don't care why they say they voted for him. They voted for him for racism. And the fact, until we get the January 6 people upset, like they got upset about Epstein, then they finally started moving their feet, to the January 6 type, the ones that's going to go to the Capitol and storm the Capitol, get upset, he ain't going to do that. He ain't worried about it. Right. It's no big deal till he pisses them off.
Yeah.
And messing with black people makes them happy. It's the reason they let him get away with everything else, Brian. It's the only reason he get away with everything else, because he's so good at racism.
Normally I would call that white privilege, but in Donald Trump's case, I'm going to call him orange privilege. Thank you for the call, Damon. It's good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you. Always one of my favorite callers. We're also on the YouTube super chat here. We have a few more minutes if you do want your questions or comments to be read on the air. And the number again is 702-221-7283. Let's go to Ken. Ken is next up on PTL. Hey, Ken, what's up?
Oh, well, there's a lot of things, but I don't have time for all of them. But let's see. How many Jan 6ers are working for ICE now? And is that why they're masked all the time?
It's a good question. Why else would they be wearing masks? Why else?
Yeah, because they're going to show up that they were Jan 6ers.
Cops don't wear masks. Why are these ICE agents wearing masks? Why? Now they claim the Trump administration claims, it's to protect themselves so they're not doxxed. What about police officers? They're not wearing masks. It makes absolutely no sense. To the only thing that you are alluding to, which I agree, which I believe these are people that are not, some of them are not trained local law enforcement. They don't know what they're doing. And they could be some of them could be Enrique Tarrios. I don't know.
Yep. And what's that football guy's about the kneeling? What was his name?
Colin Kaepernick.
Like the four that were ordered to kneel in front of a murderous dictator. Yeah, that Kaepernick guy.
Yeah.
He takes a knee because of unarmed black people being murdered.
Right.
And he's bad.
Yeah. Well, I'll take it a step further.
Servicemen are ordered to kneel in front of a murderous dictator.
Right. Yeah. I'll take it a step further. And you're right. During those times in the NFL, when Colin Kaepernick and many African Americans and many white players as well were taking a knee, Donald Trump specifically called those people sons of bitches. Let me remind all of you, that was a peaceful protest during the national anthem. But somehow, if you're a white supremacist and you beat police officers with their own baton on January 6th, that somehow makes you a patriot and a hostage. This is MAGA. Many of them in the base are racist, they're bigots, and they're just horrible human beings, and we don't need to go into the weeds. That's just the reality of the situation.
They're just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, sir. We're on the same page there. Going back to the YouTube super chat, Scurry Away says, why did the U.S. government let the Israeli Cybersecurity Authority that visited on August 6th and was arrested by soliciting a child for illicit purposes and was allowed to return to Israel? Epstein? That's a very, very good question that you ask, because I know the story that you're asking, Scurry, and it seems like the media has forgotten about that story, and they're just throwing it under the rug, just like the Trump administration is trying to ignore the fact that Trump is all over the Epstein files. So I agree with you, and that's a story, and that's a question that we need to ask. Now, it would not be a PTL show if we didn't, go to the MAGA destroyer herself, Darlene. Hey, Darlene, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Now, listen, I'm going to be good today, guys. First of all, Brian, I want to wish my husband, John, a happy 30th anniversary, guys. Can you believe this guy put up with me that long?
I can, actually. I can. Well, congratulations on that, though. I think that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And the last thing, Brian, I want to say, I want everybody, don't worry. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened at the White House between Trump and Putin. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that Trump had to call Vance for his couch. That's all y'all need to know. That's exactly what went on between Trump and Putin in the White House.
I think you're right about that, my dear. Other than that, I think Trump performs verbal fellatio on Vladimir Putin every single day. It's despicable. It's disgusting. I appreciate the call, Darlene. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you. Programming note for you. We have some very special guests lined up for the remainder of the week. Let me go through them real quickly. So a guy by the name of Matt Bauer is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Now, if you don't know who Matt is, he's facing decades in prison. 29 federal agents raided his home. Bauer is the guy who took illegal sports bets from Otani's interpreter. Now, this is a guy who took billions and billions and billions of dollars of sports bets from celebrities and people all over the world. Well, he finally got caught. And he's facing actually 29 counts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a new book out, and he's going to be sentenced here in a couple weeks. He has agreed to come on the show tomorrow. So that should be an interesting conversation, to say the least. So he's going to be joining us on the program tomorrow. Ron Filipkowski was on vacation all of last week. We love Ron from Midas Touch. He's one of my favorites. Ron Filipkowski is going to be joining us on the show to start the show on Thursday. We'll have Leonard Cardinal in studio Thursday as well. He's one of my favorite musicians growing up. I grew up with like alternative rock. One of my favorite bands, well, a few favorite, 9 Inch Nails. He's formerly of 9 Inch Nails, and he's the lead singer of the band Filter. He is also a diehard liberal. His brother, Robert Patrick, is very pro-Trump. So we'll definitely talk to him about that. The awesome and great Richard Patrick, the lead singer of Filter, very outspoken politically. He will be joining us on the show Friday, along with Nicole Mitchell. Nicole Mitchell will be joining us on Friday as well. So just a quick reminder to all of you. This is an independently owned radio show. What does that mean? It means we rely on people like you to support what we do here to keep the lights on. And you know, the PTL Nation, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. We passed 135,000 YouTube subscribers over the weekend. We're very proud of that. But we rely on good people like you to help out with donations and merchandise. So if you go to the website, pushingthelimits.live, and again, the website is pushingthelimits.live, you have the opportunity to make a donation. And if you make a donation, could be $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, you have the opportunity to support what we do here. We also sell merchandise on there, shirts, hats, you name it. So we appreciate your support, and thank you to everybody in the YouTube Super Chat. Another great thing you can do is be involved on my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. Give me the thumbs up. Let's see some comments out there. Support my work. At PTL Radio Show on my YouTube page, and please subscribe and hit that like button and the thumbs up button. We also have a contest going on. You can either mail it to the radio station here at KSHP, or you can email me some sort of theme for a sign. And if we use it, I will give you credit for it. I'm going to be doing a lot of man on the street stuff all over Las Vegas. We got a professional photographer. I'm going to be all over the city. We're going to use it for the show and for content. I need a sign. What type of sign? Well, I hate MAGA. Tell me where I'm wrong. Or, Trump is awful. Debate me. Something along those lines. You come up with the words, as few as possible, and a sign. I'll give you credit for it. And that's a contest that we are doing here on PTL. You could mail it to the station, KSHP. But I would, if you want to do this and you already have a sign ready to go for me, then I'll just email me and I'll give you the details and I'll give you credit for it. All right. So that's what we are going to do. Donnie Sucks proved me wrong. That's Dylan, the guy, had that. I actually like that one, but we need to come up with a sign and come up with ideas for me. All right. Because we're going to be doing this man on the street stuff really soon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn?